I am Harriet Tubman, and this poem I want to share with you is called The Ballad of the Underground Railroad by Charles Blockson. Many nights we rode the underground train. It rolled on tracks covered with pain. The whole of humanity made up its crew, and liberty was the engineer that carried us through. The North Star would lead us, and freedom would greet us when we got to the end of the line. Now, this underground train, as strange as it seems, it carried many passengers but was never seen. It wasn't made of wood and it wasn't made of steel. It was a man-made train that ran without wheels. Now, this train was known by many a name, but the greatest of all was the Freedom Train. The Quakers, the Indians, the Gentiles, and the Jews were some of the people who made up the crews. Free Africans, Christians, and atheists too were the rest of the people who made up that crew. Conductors and agents led the way at night, guiding the train by the North Star light. The passengers was the fugitive slaves, running from slavery and its evil ways, running from the whip and the overseer, from the slave block and the auctioneer. We didn't want them slave owners to catch us again. So the men's dressed like women, and the women dressed like men's. We hid in churches, cellars, and barns, waiting to hear that train's alarm. Sleeping by day and traveling by night was the best way we knew to keep out of sight. We waited in the waters so to hide our scent, the food and bloodhounds them slave owners sent. Now, riding this train broke the laws of the land, but the laws of God are higher than man's. When Israel was in Egypt land, suffering, 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 oppressed so long they could not stand, suffering, suffering, suffering. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh to let my people go. Good day. I am Harriet Tubman, and I want to share with you how I realized my goals with the help of others. Now, I'm sure you heard about me. And yes, I was born back in the 1800s in a place called America. My whole family lived in a wicked system called slavery. Now, to be a slave, you had no rights or free will of your own. And it was against the law for us to even learn how to read or write. You see, man to man is so unjust. Because in slavery, the man with the money could buy and sell other men, women, and children just to be his slaves, to work hard in his fields and in their houses and for free, for nothing. Growing up on the Brodass plantation in Maryland, I had a big brother and sister who was sold down the river to the deep south. Not long after that, I started to hear about Africans named Denmark Vesey and Nat Turner and how they was fighting and killing people for their freedom. And they even end up dying for their freedom. But when I got to be a woman, I heard talk that I was going to be sold down south too. It was then that I put my mind into my prayers that my goal was to run away, and I did. I was successful many times, only because I had good folks to help me along the way every single time. Now, my grandma, she was from Africa, and she used to say, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Huh. So I took my time because I knew in my heart I had God on my side to tell me where to go. That's right, God. I talked to him all the time inside my head. And I talked to him just like he was a friend of mine, just like I'm talking to you right now. Well, one day when I was working in the fields, a lady came passing by in her buggy and she stopped right by the fence. And when the overseer wasn't looking, she sneaked down and she whispered to me and she told me she didn't like slavery and that she would help me if I wanted to be free. Well, not long after that, one night I just ran off into town and I found that lady's house. And I tapped on the back door and she let me in and she gave me some food and a little bed to sleep on. She told me there was plenty of people who would help me get to freedom and that she wasn't the only one I could depend on. I was so happy inside because I knew that I needed to help other people. I knew in my heart that my God would help me find a way, but I had to put my faith in action. And that's what I did. I always listened and followed the advice of the folks who knew the roads and the ways I could find the right people who would help me get to the next stations. Well, that night, I did what the lady told me to do, and I snuck out quietly along all night through the road, to the woods, to the river road, and I hide in daytime, and then at night I'd walk through that woods and I'd follow that big star up in the sky that my daddy always showed me. And I kept in front of me. I kept it right there in front of me, in front of my sight. It carried me out of the woods until I saw a house up on a hilltop. Oh, and it had a blinking light. It was blinking there on the porch, and it was a sign. The lady told me that would be the sign for me to know it was a safe house. And I ended up learning that that house with the blinking light, it wasn't the only one. Later on, as I went back many more times to help other people get their freedoms, it was a long road to travel on what they call the Underground Railroad, all the way up to Canada, and with the help of other folks who guided and protected us. Thomas Garrett was a Quaker shoemaker in Delaware, and he helped me get all the way through all the time. He even went to jail for helping me, and many more runaways. And in Philadelphia, I met up with Brother William Steels, and he helped me get work in the hotels cleaning. And from Philadelphia, I would go back to Maryland many times. And I got many more folks out of the horrors of that slavery. Before the surrender, I helped my mama and my daddy and all the rest of my brothers and sisters and plenty of friends and even strangers get free. But the only ones who knew that they were slaves and would work together with me to realize our goal, to get free. Another goal I had was to tell my story. So I told my story to a lady named Sarah Bradford, and she wrote it down for me and she put it in a book, and we sold it for money. It's still selling today. And today, like right now in your day, you got a lady named Ava DuVernay, and she got plenty of awards for telling stories about her peoples. And she said, if your dreams are just about you, then your dreams are way too small. So you gotta dream big, think positive, and work together with other people for the good of everybody. Ask for help when you need it, because we are put on this earth to help one another. Seek out and accept the help of good people who knows things that you don't know. Don't be too proud. Take their advice and get the help from your family, your teachers, good friends who love and care for you. And you can have a good life living in your freedom. You can do it, but only if you realize your goals with others. You can't go wrong. Thank you kindly for listening. And remember, I am Harriet Tubman.